You won't believe what just happened. Song Joong-ki publicly apologized to Song Hye Kyo at her wedding to Lee Min-ho, leaving everyone in total shock and stirring emotions that no one saw coming. Don't forget to subscribe right now so you don't miss any of the latest breaking updates on this emotional moment that is sending waves through the entertainment world. This wasn't just a headline, it was a heart-stopping revelation in front of the most unexpected audience. When fans heard that Song Hye Kyo was officially tying the knot with Lee Min-ho, the news alone was enough to send the internet into a frenzy. The wedding of two of South Korea's biggest stars was supposed to be a glamorous, joyful affair. But what turned it into an unforgettable event was the unanticipated appearance and heartfelt apology of none other than her ex-husband, Song Joong-ki. No one expected him to show up, and even fewer could have imagined what he would do next. The ceremony was already making waves for its sheer elegance. Held at a private estate just outside of Seoul, it was the epitome of modern Korean luxury. Stars, CEOs, and influencers from around the world gathered to witness the union of two legends. Photographers buzzed discreetly at the edges of the event, guests whispered about the sheer perfection of the bride's dress, and every camera was ready to capture the iconic moment when Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo would exchange vows. But then, something happened that no one predicted. As the pre-ceremony moments unfolded, a stir moved through the guests. Quiet gasps, eyes turning toward the back of the crowd. And then there he was, Song Joong-ki. Dressed simply in a dark suit, eyes downcast, he moved quietly but confidently toward the inner garden where the couple was preparing. Some guests didn't even recognize him at first. But as word spread, everyone held their breath. Why was he there? Security had been tight, the guest list strict, but according to sources close to both parties, Song Hye Kyo had known he might attend. What she didn't know, however, was what he planned to say. And when he was invited, shockingly, to say a few words during the reception, people thought it was a joke. But then he took the mic. What followed next was a moment that will go down in K-entertainment history. Song Joong-ki stood before the glowing newlyweds and began to speak. The entire venue fell into a hush as his voice echoed through the speakers, not with bitterness, not with regret, but with something purer. An apology. A real, raw, soul-bearing apology to the woman he once loved, and perhaps, still does in some quiet way. He began by congratulating Song Hye Kyo and Lee Min-ho, calling them two people whose light only shines brighter together. But then, he shifted. He turned directly to Song Hye Kyo, and, with a trembling voice, said, "I never had the courage to say this properly before. But I want to say it now, in front of everyone who matters to you. I'm sorry." Gasps rang out across the audience. Some covered their mouths, others simply stared, frozen in time. Song Joong-ki continued, "I'm sorry for the hurt. I'm sorry for the silence. I'm sorry for not being the partner you deserved when you gave me your everything. I didn't know how to protect what we had, and I'll always regret losing it the way we did." Song Hye Kyo's face, radiant with wedding makeup and delicate jewelry, softened. Cameras caught her eyes welling with emotion. She didn't move, didn't speak, but the look on her face was one of grace, acceptance, and something that resembled peace. The entire crowd, many of them fellow celebrities and close friends who had witnessed their romance blossom and fall apart, was visibly moved. And when Song Joong-ki ended his speech by bowing deeply and stepping away without waiting for applause, the silence he left behind was louder than any standing ovation. But the real surprise came next. Lee Min-ho, the groom himself, walked forward. He shook Song Joong-ki's hand. A gesture so unexpected, so mature, that it instantly dissolved any potential tension in the room. It was a statement louder than words. The past was the past, and today was about healing. Fans on social media could hardly believe it. Clips of the apology speech, though unofficial, began flooding the internet. Hashtags like hashtag Songjung-ki apologizes, hashtag Song Hye Kyo wedding, and hashtag Lee Minute-ho wedding trended globally within hours. Fans from all over the world praised the emotional maturity shown by all three individuals. Some cried, others expressed admiration for Song Joong-ki's courage, and many said it brought them closure they didn't know they needed. But how did it come to this? Song Joong-ki and Song Hye Kyo's romance was once the fairy tale of K-dramas made real. Their chemistry in Descendants of the Sun turned into a whirlwind real-life relationship, and in 2017, they married in one of the most talked-about weddings in Korean entertainment history. But just 2 years later, their divorce shocked the world. The breakup was sudden, silent, and surrounded by endless rumors. Both parties chose privacy, but fans always sensed unresolved emotions lingering in the background. Then came the years apart. Song Joong-ki focused on his career, eventually remarrying and welcoming a child. Song Hye Kyo, too, reclaimed her space, becoming even more powerful in the acting world and more selective in her projects. Meanwhile, her quiet connection with Lee Minute-ho had been developing behind the scenes, away from the press and public scrutiny. And though it took years, they eventually emerged, stronger, more stable, and ready to begin a life together. So when this wedding was announced, it wasn't just about two people coming together. It was about the ending of one chapter, and the beautiful, public beginning of another. And Song Joong-ki showing up to that moment was more than a twist. It was a closure the world didn't expect. In the hours after the wedding, insiders revealed that Song Hye Kyo was deeply touched by Song Joong-ki's words. Though they no longer share a life, they once shared love. And what he did that day, she reportedly said, took courage and grace. Lee Minute-ho, too, expressed respect for Song Joong-ki in his quiet manner, stating to a friend, "He gave her a peace I never could." The emotional waves from that apology have yet to settle. Fans are still unpacking every second of the speech, every look exchanged between the three. Experts say the moment redefined what maturity, healing, and forgiveness can look like, not just for celebrities, but for anyone who has ever loved and lost. And as for Song Joong-ki, he left quietly after the reception. No interviews, no attention. Just a soft smile and a final bow before disappearing into the night. Perhaps this was always his intention, not to steal the spotlight, but to return what he never had the words for before. Today, as the world celebrates the union of Lee Minute-ho and Song Hye Kyo, it also reflects on